on Wellness Week Live. What's up, everybody? I want to welcome a special guest today, my good friend for many, many decades, Dionia. Dionia, how are you?
I'm good, Tony. Thank you. How are
Yeah.
you?
Good, good. Now we're going to be talking about autism. Now you have a daughter, Riley. She's 18. She has autism, and I wanted to do this show today and have you on because April is Autism Awareness Month, and I think it's important that we talk about this. And I think all of us know someone or have someone in our family or circle or a friend or an acquaintance that we know, that has autism. And I wanted to talk about this because it's important that we do, and I want to demystify some things, answer some questions, and you would be a great person to have that conversation with. And I also just want to do a quick disclaimer, as I do with every show: we're just two friends talking. We're not giving any medical advice. Always check with the healthcare professionals, and that is it. So, Dionia, let me ask you. Well, let me just say this, okay? I want to just read this off, and you tell me, what you think about this, okay? So I went on to the Mayo Clinic and I typed in, what is autism? So autism is a serious developmental disorder that impairs the ability to communicate and interact. Autism spectrum disorder impacts the nervous system. The range of severity and symptoms can vary widely. Common symptoms include difficulty with communication, difficulty with social interactions, obsessive interests, and repetitive behaviors. And early intervention is key to help manage autism. Again, it's a spectrum. And forgive me for this because I'm not a professional, but it's a spectrum, meaning you could have a little bit of it or a lot of it in layman's terms. So, okay. How does that definition sound to you? I mean, does that hit the nail on the head, or is it? Would
I
you like?
think I think I would agree that it does. They'll all have some of those symptoms, or like you said, it varies how much, how little, and
Right.
in what ways that each person individually is affected by it.
Okay, and yeah, so your daughter, 18, Riley, she has autism, and I wanted to talk about this about you because to talk about it, just to talk about it with someone
Mhm.
who doesn't have experience in it and just an academic way, I don't think hits home as much as having someone, a mother of an autistic young woman. I think this is something that's really important and can really speak to the situation more than just me talking about it academically with somebody. So let me ask you this, Dionia, when you first found out that your daughter had autism when she was on the spectrum, what went through your mind? Like, what did you feel? Like, were you nervous, scared, angry? You didn't know? Like, what was the first reaction when you found out?
Well, I actually was blind to it. I didn't see it. My husband, Rich, did. And actually, I have my degree in psychology. I actually did my internship with autism way back before I had a child with it or even knew
Oh
what it
wow!
was.
Right,
But I saw the children that was severe.
right,
So, and they were older. So when he mentioned that, well, Riley wasn't really doing like joint attention at like age 1.5, that kind of 2 years old, where they can look up and say, Mommy, Daddy, look, do you see this? Like that joint attention.
right,
She wasn't doing that, but everything else looked fine.
right,
She would smile. She seemed normal. Yeah, there were no words, but didn't expect a lot of words or anything from her at that point.
right.
So when he was saying it, I said, No, I don't believe it. No, she doesn't have that. No, so I kind of was not in denial, but I just didn't see it. So
Right.
I decided to go along with him and just have someone come in and screen her to see if she fit the category. And they said, yes, she did. So I
Oh,
said, wow, okay. I didn't realize it. So my feeling knowing that, I still had hope that she was going to speak or, be able to learn just like any other kid. I guess I didn't really have any doubts at that point. I didn't, my husband did. He felt, sad, like, oh, she's never going to talk to us. I'm never going to hear her voice, or I'm never going to, but I just didn't feel that. It's just something in me felt like, oh, no, she's going to be okay.
okay.
And
So
I
you
actually
weren't
enjoyed her as a baby too.
okay. So yeah. So you weren't devastated. You weren't scared. You were more kind of pragmatic
No.
about it. Like, oh, okay. Well, let's just see, and we'll work through it,
Mhm.
kind of deal. Okay.
Right.
Interesting. Okay. So now, so you got this diagnosis what when she was 3 or 4?
No, she was about maybe 1.5, 2 years
Oh, okay.
old. Yeah,
Okay.
very
Okay.
early.
Okay. And so now my understanding is from doing a little bit of research that I did is that autism can happen by factors out, environmental factors, or genetic factors, so to speak. So my understanding is there's no there's no exact factual link as to how autism happens, but there are risk factors, which is not causation. Was that how was it explained to you too, or?
No, you know, they're just saying that they don't know
Right.
what it could be. I thought, because I had Riley Ann was my last child, and I had her at age 45.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that maybe because I was older,
Right.
that that's probably why she got this disability.
Right.
And but I found younger women in
Right.
their 20s and everything, and they were having autistic children. So that kind of debunked uh, being it the age factor.
Right. Yeah, my understanding is also from the I was on a I think I was reading something off of a hospital journal that they were saying that also if you have someone autistic in your family, the lineage or genetics can play possibly a part in that too. Not that that's the only factor, but
Mhm.
they were saying, to your point, basically nobody really knows, but they know that there's
Mhm.
certain risk elevations, but again, not guarantee. I mean, you could be an older woman, you can have an autistic person in your family and still not have an autistic child. So there's no exact science to it, but there is general kind of uh, assessments and noticeable situations that may or may not, but it comes on the radar, things like that, like we were just talking about. All right, so your daughter, I mean, at 18, like, how is she doing? Like, what is she like? You know, yeah. How is she doing? I mean, what
Well,
is her life like?
she's really coming along great. Most of her problems have been behavior, which I never could tell if they were learned behaviors or were they just behaviors that were coming from within her.
Right,
But she's doing well. She's verbal, of course, now, and we're thankful for that.
right. Now, verbal
Getting that
means that
early.
she can carry a conversation on, or she can just say like, I want water, or I want like how when you say verbal, like, is there a spectrum of verbal too, or?
Yeah, she can point. Verbal is like she can have a little bit of conversation with you. It
Okay,
won't be to the extent of like how you and I are having a great conversation, but she can answer your questions
okay,
and tell you her thoughts and
right,
things like that. The sentences may not
right,
be as long of a sentence, like maybe a 3 4 word sentence,
right.
short
Okay,
answer, but she'll answer you and she can tell you all the things that she wants, things that she's feeling and all of
okay,
that.
okay. All right. Yeah. Now, I also want people to know, I want the viewers to know that, you know, um, uh, when we hear someone has autism, I think sometimes some people are scared, or like, they don't know, they're nervous around someone who's autistic, like, and I want the viewers to know that people with autism they're like us. It's just different. It's not something that is bad or we should stay away from. People with autism are human beings just like me and you. They have wants and needs and desires. They have intelligence that we have, and
Right.
sometimes people with autism have much higher intelligence in certain things
Mhm.
like mathematics. I know a friend of mine who's autistic. His mathematical prowess and IQ is just a genius. I mean, far, far greater than anything I could ever accomplish. And so I want
Mhm.
people to know that, when we see our really our I say our brothers and sisters who have autism, they're just like us, but they're just different. As I am different than you are, Dionia, and you are different than me. It's just a difference. It's not something. And I think I know that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that the people that I know with autism would tell you, don't feel bad for me. Like, treat me. I'm a human being. I want to achieve things. I want to succeed and fail on my own accord. I think sometimes it's borderline insulting when we're like, oh, poor, oh my God. Like, that's not cool. I think obviously we all need help, right? No one is God. No one is perfect. We all have our shortcomings, and autism is just different. That's all. And we're all different. So yeah, I just want people to know that about, when they hear this segment. So what are your hopes for Riley Ann going forward? Like, what are your goals, or what are her goals? What do you hope for her when she's in her 30s and 40s? And
Well, I'll answer that with you, but I want to also speak a little bit on what you just said because I do agree on what you said about they're just like us and they're
right,
that all of that. But I would say having Riley in, because when we out in public with her, sometimes you can't tell that she's a person with autism until you see how she starts behaving.
Correct.
If
Yeah.
she's having a good day and there's no behavior issues, everything is good. But when she starts to do strange things, then we tell people around us, she has autistic. And
Right.
most people now are aware of that. Say, oh yeah, we know, we know. But we want to tell them because Riley can sometimes do things to others. And I don't know if other autistic kids are like that, but she might touch someone, and
Got
you're supposed to touch people, or maybe she likes the smell of something that they're wearing, and she might try to smell them, and
it. Right.
she
Right.
doesn't know these people. So um for her, what we've seen is that autistic kids don't always know the difference between themselves and someone else. They just think that the world is free and I can touch and feel and smell
Right. Right.
anything. And they have to learn that know you're in society and there's a line between a stranger and so it's that thing sometimes with Riley and we have to point out you don't know these people and you're not
Right.
supposed to keep your hands to yourself and
Right.
you
Right.
know and then we have to warn people because some people they like her, they see her and they want to come up to her and just because they think she's adorable even and they want to touch her and say, oh, what a cute little girl or whatever. And we're like, okay, stay away because she's just now in a bad way and she might spit at you
Right.
or
Right. Right. Right.
she might throw something and we don't
Right.
want you to get hurt or anything like that. So
Right.
we kind of it's true like what you're saying, you don't want people to shun away from you or anything like that, but at the same time you don't want people always getting too close
Correct.
because there are
Right.
those days when you don't want them to get too close for their own benefit
Right.
or for the child or the person's safety. I
Right.
will give you an example that's outside of Riley Ann when she was going to a school for all autism at a point in her life, and these were older kids and she was a little kid at the time, but she was in that school for a little while because she was having behavior issues and they put her in there because she could be more monitored with the behavior at that point.
Right.
Well, I was dropping her off, and when I left the school there were other kids that were being escorted in with their guardians or whatever that they had coming in, and there was this really big guy and he was autistic but he was huge, tall and big, and I just walked past him, and all of a sudden, he punched me so hard in my back
Oh.
just by passing by him. And he was going into the school building, and I was just walking, coming out to go back to my car after dropping Riley, and he hit really hard.
Right.
So they were concerned if I was okay. And I said, yeah, I was good. It did hurt, but I was okay. I'd
Right.
take a couple
Right.
Tylenols when I got home. But I
Right.
said, my goodness, oh my goodness, I understood he had autism, but after that, I was afraid to
Got
be
it.
around. I had to watch myself when I would go in and out of that building because
Right.
I said, I don't, they could do something to you that they don't
Right.
realize they're doing.
Right.
So
And yeah,
I would say there's a certain level of, like you're
caution,
saying, caution that you still have to take, even though they are our brothers and sisters, they're our family, you still have to take some precautions because
especially if you
even
don't
with
know the person.
right. And even with Riley Ann, we were on a cruise last year with my grandchildren. My grandchildren.
Of course.
And my daughter, my granddaughter, we were all standing by the elevator bank, and Riley Ann had a tablet in her hand, and she loves a cell phone. And she was just, using it and playing with it and everything that she knows games and stuff on it. And I guess she was upset because the elevator wasn't coming. But instead of her verbally saying, hey, I'm upset the elevator isn't coming, she reacted and she threw her cell phone and it hit my granddaughter in the head.
Oh Lord.
So luckily she was okay. But that kind of was like, oh, so it's little things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We have to be always
Careful.
around
Right.
her. So my husband and I, Rich, we stay around her when we're in public with her.
Right.
If
Right.
we're on a cruise, he's on one side of her, I'm on the other. We
Right.
never leave her alone because we just feel that she can't be trusted.
Got it.
And mhm,
I want to say though, right now that I understand what you're saying, and so yes, thank you for clarifying that. And right, so we shouldn't be afraid or off put by someone who has autism. And I guess what I'm trying to say is like not to treat them like lepers. That's what I mean.
no, no, no,
But
no.
but if you don't know if you don't know the person, you know they have autism, but you don't know them personally. Yes, maybe take some caution because you don't know what they can and can't do. And
Right.
also to your point, your daughter's autism is not the same thing as the next person's autism who
Right.
may not strike at you, or they may strike at you. So
Right.
it is a spectrum. So I also want the viewers to know your story is unique to Riley Ann. Not everybody with autism would do that or punch you in the back. That's
That's right.
a particular
Right.
case, a particular person at a particular
That's
time.
right. Right.
So again, like, yeah, I guess when in doubt, just yeah, practice respect and caution. But because like I said, it varies, right? And so, okay, that I appreciate you clarifying
And
that
that's
too.
like you're saying with any of us, if we don't know somebody in the public, right? We don't know if they're a danger.
Well, that goes back to also what I'm saying, right? In a way, they're just different because I know a lot of people who don't have autism who have assaulted people, got into fights, said things
Yes.
inappropriately at bars and nightclubs. I'm in the DJ business,
Snatch the
and so
pocketbook or something, or
right, and they don't have autism. So to your point, I guess if you don't know somebody, just generally speaking, right, you common sense,
yeah.
you're careful. But okay, so now you alluded to your grandchildren. How do the other children in your family, and I say children, a lot of them are your grandchildren are children, but your children are not; they're adults. But how does your family view Riley and interact with her? I mean, generally speaking.
Well, they're all different age groups.
Yeah.
My oldest is in her 40s, and the next is in the 30s, and the twins are in their 20s, and Riley's 18, and they are all adults now, so they're not in the house with her. Riley Ann has really been raised basically by herself, except for when she gets to visit with them, once in a while because they have their lives and so they're very busy. So they don't really have a lot of time with Riley Ann. But when they are around her, um, they enjoy her. But, she's just in the room. She's not really
Out and about, mall,
engaging. She's
restaurant.
happy to be around them. She knows that they're family. She loves them. She'll say hi to them and be glad that they're there. And just because, again, like that thing with autism, they like to be around you, but they have a lot of social disability.
Right.
Social skills are weak. And that's
Disconnection
the
sometimes.
problem with
Right.
all of them. Even if they're on the high level, they have a social issue, is the biggest thing. And they
Right.
like to play parallel to you. They may not play with you, but they enjoy just being in the room with you. And you think they're not paying attention, but they are. They're there and they're enjoying it and they're liking it. And
Right.
if they don't like it, like she'll hold her ears or, say, I want to leave or, whatever, or, let me play or,
Right.
let's do this or that. And so
Right.
they'll let her join. They know to use caution with her. They can tell
Right.
her mood if she's in a good mood or she's gonna be okay. And so they,
Right.
they just go about their business in the house or out with her. They don't really make it a big focus, a big deal. I think they just kind of too used to it and they just see
Right.
her as family, one of them,
Right.
although they know she might need a little extra either precaution or help
Right.
or care or whatever.
Right. Now, does Riley have any like friends or a friend that she hangs out with once in a while, or?
No, and she misses that because right now she's learning virtually for her last year of high school. And she had switched schools last year for her 11th grade and 12th grade. And when she switched schools, it didn't work out very well for her. So that's why the last year she's virtually and she's doing very well with that because it's like a one on one. And even her behaviors have changed, which leads me to the thought about whether the behaviors that she's had all these years when she was physically in school, among others, like her, was it learned behaviors or was it,
Right.
something
Right.
from
Right.
within her? I really believed a lot of it was learned behaviors.
Right.
Um,
Outside factors. Yeah.
and so, but she had friends when she was in the environment with all autistic kids in the room with her with autism. She was the higher functioning one, which was unfortunate because she needed role models that she could do better with
Right.
instead of her being the only one in the room really who's verbal or could do
Right.
things or
Right.
because some of them had dual diagnosis where they may not have just had autism, they had Down syndrome mixed with
Got it.
autism or a
Got it.
physical disability or whatever with that. But that was still her friends. She liked them and she could
Right. Right.
go see them every day. And to her, it was all she knew, and those were her friends.
Got
And
it.
I had tried to, when she was younger, befriend these parents of these children who were in the class with her. And
Right.
I would often, because I always treated Riley Ann as a normal person, would take her to the park with other kids and places, movie theaters, restaurants. We never limited her environment.
Right.
And I would invite these parents to come join us, whether it's a zoo trip or whatever. And the children, what I learned was that the children in their classroom, they like each other as friends, but the parents were seeing difference. They were
Yeah.
seeing like our kids, and I've had a couple of parents tell me, we might have a child with autism, but we're not the same. So I
Right.
really can't hang out with you because your child either does more than my kid does, or my child does more than your child does.
Oh
So we're
boy.
not the same.
Oh boy.
And there was one lady, she refused to even leave the house with her child. And I was like, please just come to the park with us.
Oh
They
boy.
will enjoy it. And she refused. She says, no, I just have them go to school and take them home, and that's it.
Wow.
So it was a
You know,
struggle for
when I
me.
was teaching special ed, that was a big thing, inclusion. Now not everybody can be included into a quote unquote normal class, but to your point, your daughter, yeah, I bet you some of what she, uh, some of her situations that she has now were probably learned. Yeah, absolutely. And inclusion's important because you know what? We live on this earth. You can't go to Mars. Like again, these are
Yes,
our brothers, our sisters, our neighbors, our friends. You can't just. And I get it. If somebody has an extreme case and they're always violent all the time, that's a different story. But
that's
I
it.
mean, yeah, that's unfortunate. And you know what though? The book is not done yet. Your daughter has many more chapters, and I'm sure she will have an
Mhm.
inclusion into a group of people who
Yes,
are and forgive me if I don't know what other word to use, but I say normal, but I mean normal's relative also. And I would also add, the more I hear about your daughter and I find out about my other friends and colleagues with autism, the more I say they're normal too. It's just they have a part of their life that is different. So
mhm.
I can't stress that enough. Even the punching thing and whatever, wanting to sniff hair, that part of their life, that part is different, but they are human. They are normal. They have
That's
again wants and needs and
yes,
love and hope and dreams, and I want
yes,
people to know that because it really is would be misguided and wrong
yes,
to treat someone with autism like, oh my God, they're
yes,
they're just this other thing. That's not cool. It's not right.
yes.
It's not true. So okay, so what has been and you've kind of already touched on this. What
And
has
I think the word that you're looking for, because it's the word that I use too, even if I'm talking to another person who has a child with a I say disability.
right,
I don't say normal, or I
right,
just say a person with a disability, and that kind of covers it because they are a little bit disabled.
right,
But
but
so
yeah,
you might
Deanna,
want to,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
now I'll say that might help you with the word normal. Just say disability, because I
Disability, yeah,
think that's what I use.
yeah. Well, even that, Dionia, I would say we all have a disability. I have disabilities, and
So
I'm quote unquote normal. Everybody has a Achilles heel or a problem or a situation. So I mean, I go to therapy for my whatever you want to call it, my shortcoming, my difference, my disability, and that is my anxiety, my stress. My I can OCD, obsess
that's
about.
true.
Oh my God, did I touch that doorknob? Is it dirty? Is it dirty? Like that's not a joke. I had to
True.
go to therapy for that. Does that mean I'm somehow
No, that's
able?
true.
We all have shortcomings that are our weak spots. And that's my thing, right? So your daughter and the other people, they have a component, a part of their life that is, yes, it is a disability, but we all do really. And I
That's
think if we
true.
think,
That's a good point.
we think of it like that, which is the truth, because no one is perfect, only God. We all have a disability of some sort. Some are more than others, some are larger, but nonetheless, how about this? Look at all the quote unquote normal things that your daughter has and the normal things that you have and I have and the people watching. It's funny, we're looking at the negative, we're looking at the glass half empty, but what about the glass half full? And that's my next
True.
question to you.
Yeah.
What are some of the great things about Riley Ann that you love? What are some of the great things?
Oh, well, she's really sweet. She can be sweet and very friendly, and loves people, loves family. She enjoys doing schoolwork sometimes, like studying. She likes that. She's interested in things. She loves music. She really can, tell you if a song is great or not. She loves a variety of music styles. It's just amazing how smart she is on the computer. She knows how to navigate and work her way through. She loves fun and having a good time and being
Right.
around others. And so we
Right.
like that about her. She's smart,
Yeah.
and She has a lot of good intellect. She hears very well. She can hear an airplane coming 15 minutes before you do.
Wow,
And it's
that's a
amazing.
superpower, right?
And
Well,
her
and then
sense of
also,
smell, like all the other senses are really great.
sharp, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I believe that your daughter, like many others with autism on the spectrum, can go out, get a job, have a life. It might not be, again, none of us have the same life anyways. So your daughter, I think, will down the line find something that an employer will say, wow, we need that actually, and we're going to hire her for whatever it is, computer programming or whatever it may be, that she can and she will contribute, because why not? Everybody else does. And again, we all have
Yeah.
shortcomings. So now in closing, I wanted to
Well, I
ask
don't.
you.
I just want to go back to that because we've been asked about that in high school for her. What's the next step?
Right,
Transitioning and things like that. And her dad and I, my husband and I, we believe that Riley Ann really can't have a job. Not that she can't
but
know how
she
to
can
do
do a
the job
task.
or hold the job, but the problem is her behavior.
Right,
She still needs a lot of work on her behavior because we took her to do some voluntary work at the church with us to hand out, put together food packages, in the boxes and collate and organize. And we were with her to do it. And we had to be there with her to do it because she's going to
right,
stand there and not do it on her own.
right, right,
And there were a couple of times where she would like throw the stuff, instead of placing it there
right,
and maybe just say, oh, I'm tired of doing this and walk away.
right, right, right.
So, she's
However,
not realizing that you can't do that if you really hide on a job,
yeah,
especially
yeah,
her
yeah,
sense of time.
right.
You have to get her up and get her ready because she's not going to set her
Do it on
alarm
your own.
clock. She
Right,
could care less about what time of day it is or,
right, right.
so for her, it's like that, but not all autistic
Of
children are
course,
like
there's, I know
that.
autistic people who have 9 to 5 jobs, and by
Nice
the way,
jobs
your
and things
daughter.
like that. Right.
Yeah, and by the way, Riley Ann, okay, maybe she won't have a job in the sense of a classical sense where she's going into an
She
office or
would
a
have to
warehouse.
have someone with her
Right. Or
escorting.
maybe she can do something where, again, she's doing computer coding or something where she's in her room. And I know plenty of people who, they have these types of jobs where they work from their computer for a set amount of hours or whatever, and they just knock it out there. Like, I don't know. I think, and I'm not, like I said, I don't know, only you know your situation. I don't know your exact situation, but I mean, I always find that there's hope that, hey, there's a job out there that might not be the typical job, but a job nonetheless for your daughter in the future. And it doesn't have to be maybe going into a warehouse or an office. It could be, hey, we need this computer program. What do you think about this code? She might knock it out in 2 minutes where it'll take somebody else 2 days. And somebody would pay her for that. And so, I mean, like someone might say, okay, look, she doesn't want to work. She can't work, whatever, a 10-hour day or a 5-hour day, but I'll pay her to work an hour because she's that valuable. She can do something that takes another person 7 hours. She can do it in 17 minutes. So there's stuff out there for your daughter. I know that, but
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm not trying to blow smoke, but I just feel like, to think of the word job as a more ubiquitous, large umbrella, not the 9 to 5 in an office. Yeah. Maybe your daughter's not cut out to do that, but guess what? I'm not cut out to do that either. So, and again, I get it. I don't have autism, but my point is there's a space for her somewhere. There's no question in my
Yeah,
mind.
well, I think it's mostly behavior with her that
Right,
has set
right,
her back. If
right.
she can get her behavior in check, because her teachers used to say that also, if she didn't have the behavior issues in class, she would be in a regular classroom with
Right.
normal children.
And like you said, she was in a different class that kind of she mimicked maybe what she was seeing, right? So,
Yes.
by the way, I would also say, and I guess I'm not an expert, but I think also, she's 18, right? Any 18-year-olds are hormonal. Most 18-year-olds, okay, maybe they're not doing exactly what your daughter's doing so far as the behavior, but 18-year-olds, yeah, they're known to be a little bit, naughty. I think as your daughter gets older, like anybody, she'll be more mature, more calmed
Yeah.
down, and she'll be able to settle in. And I think honestly, like, and I know you're a great mom, and Rich is a great dad, and with the proper support, I won't be surprised if you tell me in 10, 15 years, oh yeah, she's doing this, thing, whatever, with this software company. I'd be like, of course she is, like she's doing great. But I get it. Yeah, she can't do the
Well, I think also too, it's not just what she's learned in the environment at school, but at home, she's very spoiled. And I don't
well,
recommend over spoiling because
yeah,
she's daddy's girl and
yeah,
daddy's really, really over spoiled her
yeah, I get
to
it.
extremes that really
Maybe,
disadvantage her from
right,
doing
right,
more independent things.
right,
And I'm a little guilty of that too because She knows how to wash and dress herself, wash her own hair, and do all these things, make her bed. She can make a bed better than a hotel clerk. She's done wonderful in that.
Yeah.
But because I'm always in a rush usually to get her going and she's slow, I've been doing it for her.
I
So
got
now
it.
she's like, oh, I'm not going to do it. You do it, mom. So
Yeah.
I'm doing, making her bed every day, and I
Yeah.
shouldn't do that. I'm washing her up every day, and I shouldn't do that
Right.
because now I'm making her lazy to being
Yeah.
more independent.
Right.
And the same thing with daddy, he doesn't let her clean. Like she'll get up from eating and then leave her plate for us to put everything
But
away
you
and sweep.
know,
And
there's
her teachers would say, Riley Ann sweeps and cleans and does laundry in the classroom, and I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
let her
yeah.
do laundry ever.
Sounds like
So,
every 18-year-old in America.
yes, I guess there are things that us parents, too, that we
Of
kind
course.
of set them back instead of forward because
Of
we are
course.
overprotective of them. And we need to learn, too, how to, like you said, believe in them and let go and realize that we might be part of the problem instead
Oh,
of
you hit
making
the nail
things
on the
better
head.
for
And
them.
Riley Ann is a lot more capable than you realize. She's a
I
lot more
think
capable than
so.
she realizes. She's a lot
Yes,
more capable than everybody realizes.
I
And
believe you're
and
right.
she's an 18-year-old young. She's a girl. You know, as she gets older, she's only gonna get better. And you know, again, you're a great mom, and I know Rich is a great dad. So you
Thank
spoil her. You
you.
know what? In the pantheon of things, I'd rather have that than you're not a good mom and not a good dad. You guys are great mom and dad, and she's lucky to have you, and you're lucky to have Riley Ann, by the way.
Yeah,
I
we
know
do feel lucky to have
I'm
her.
sure she's taught you a
Um,
lot
yes.
about life
And then
and
there's that thing when you have normal kids that they can get into troubles when they're in that age group, like hanging out with the wrong friends and not knowing where they are and doing things. Well, we don't, that's one worry we don't have. Because she's never
trust me,
alone. She never goes out alone.
I
She's with
understand that.
us.
I
And
understand that.
so she's monitored. So that's one less worry,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah, for sure.
what kind of
I mean,
friends
again,
she can pick out.
100%. Now, in closing, and you kind of touched on this already, but in closing, what would you like the viewers to know about your daughter and autism before we close?
um, like you said, that autism is nothing to be ashamed of or stunned or any of that. That they have feelings. There's a real person inside of there. I absolutely agree. Even the ones who can't communicate or be verbal, they are wonderful. They're smart, they're intelligent,
Yep.
they're capable. Some of them can even learn sign language if they don't have words.
Right.
And if they have words, you can teach them more and more, learning how to express themselves. Which Riley's still learning how to do that, to express herself more. And so we like that she's grow. We see the improvement. She likes to read now. She's
Oh,
doing
wow.
really great with reading.
Okay.
They thought at first that the kids with autism and Riley Ann could only learn by rote learning. Like if they just see the word dog every day, they know that that's the word, and
Right.
not use phonics. And I always believe, no, she can learn just like anybody else with phonics. So I've always taught her that.
Right.
And she's now using her phonics, and the teachers now are seeing that, oh wow, she's reading and she's using phonics. So she can take big words now and read them out because she's sounding out the letters and getting the word. So
Right.
she's enjoying reading now.
Yeah, that's amazing. And again, we all have that. When I was growing up, and by the way, I was in special ed classes. I got left back in school, and I found out that I learned better with auditory than visual. So anytime I took a class where the college professor said, this is going to be 100% based on your participation verbally in class, and you're going to get up and say a speech instead of a book report, I was the number one in the class, A plus, and this is in Montclair University. This is not, but if I had to read it and write it, I would be getting like a C minus, a D. My point is, all of us have some kind of special need, and we're just different. And people with autism are different. That's all, and we're different too. So, but yeah, that's all I want to let people know. And I really appreciate you taking the time, Dionia, to come out here. And
Oh,
by
thank
the
you
way,
for having me
I
and
said
thinking of having me here. And it's so great to see you.
yeah, you're one of my faves, and I say this, and I said it off camera, but you are a dead ringer for Sade, the singer from the 1980s, and I
I
tell you,
wish I could sing like her, but I used to sing. But I mean, she's spectacular,
yeah,
right?
I miss our old days at the roller skating rink.
I
Viewers,
know.
yeah, right. I was, the DJ,
I
and you
know.
would come in and
Have you
skate.
been on skates since? I haven't been on skates in a long time. I don't know if I
Uh,
would
you
try
know,
it now.
it's a damn shame because here we go. And I hate that. Listen, I know a lot of good lawyers, but unfortunately, the
Mhm.
lawyers and the insurance companies have killed the roller skating business. And I think there might be maybe 20 roller skating rinks in the whole country. Okay, so but one of our mutual friends, DJ Andrew Drew Boogie, I think you know him.
Yeah,
He
yes.
he started a roller skating night down by Trenton, where they have like a big VFW, and they rent out the room and they just roller skate there. It's not exactly the
That
rink in
sounds
Bergenfield,
nice.
but he's keeping the thing alive, and
That
so
is so. If I lived up there, I'd be there.
yeah, don't make me. You're making me feel guilty because I live in Jersey and I should be going there, and I'm
Well, I
like,
mean,
oh,
we're
I'm so
busy
lazy.
now, and you don't want to break any bones either. We're
Yeah, at
older
50,
now.
right?
And besides, Tony,
But
you were never really skating. You were in the booth. You were
that's true.
DJing the music for
That's
us so
true.
that we could skate.
That's true. Right. And I tell people I would give anything to DJ at the roller skating rink again, the rink in Bergenfield, which is no longer exists, but I would DJ there for
I never saw you
free.
on skates. You were
Oh
the
no,
music
I
guy.
skated. No. I know how to roller skate, and I have skated, but yeah, I was more into DJing, and so but it was my honor to DJ those Saturday and Sunday night R&Bs, and I would work there for free if it was still around because it
I
was just
know. We love that Bergenfield skating rink that's no longer there. The
you
building
don't
was
know what you
vacant.
got till it's gone,
I know. I
and
know. But then again, will we be still skating as older folks?
well,
Probably.
I mean, what was her name? Barbara. Barbara had to be in her
What? I
sixties,
haven't
right?
seen Barbara in years. I
No,
wouldn't
I
have
mean
no
neither.
Barbara's a lot older than us. I'm 63.
No, but what
And
I'm saying
Barbara
is,
was,
back in the
you
day,
know,
she was in her 50s and 60s and still
I
skating.
know. I
So,
know. And she looked fantastic.
oh,
She
I
looked
don't know.
like she was our age group back
Yeah,
then. You're
yeah,
the baby, of course, but
yeah. By the way, someone did a documentary on the roller skating rink, and I was interviewed
oh,
for it. And he's a
really?
filmmaker. I don't know. I know he's busy. He's got a family now and stuff, but he did a whole documentary about an hour long, and supposed to be coming out at some point.
Oh, let me
But
know. I'd love to
oh,
see
trust
it.
me, you'll know. And he's a great, cinematographer, and he's done a lot of documentaries before. And so it was, yeah. Hopefully, it'll come out. I mean, and when it does, you'll know. And so,
Let me
uh,
ask you, do the Dills still have Montclair or wherever they
oh,
were?
Montvale. No,
Yeah.
Montvale was sold approximately maybe like 2 or 3 years after the Bergenfield rink, and
Oh,
now
okay.
that rink in Montvale, New Jersey, is like a 500 unit condominium complex.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
again, the insurance on a roller skating rink, you just can't have a roller skating rink. You can't do business in America with something that people get hurt all the time, and it's hard. You can sign all the waivers you want, but it doesn't matter. So, anyways, but yeah. And I see the deals from time to time, and they look
Wow.
like they're doing great, and I thank them for having that
Are
business.
they
And
still in any kind of business though? Because that was their business
oh
before.
yeah, well I think they're retired now. They got to be
Oh,
pushing
okay.
like up, late 70s at this point.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was a special time and a special place, and I'm very grateful that we had that together. And I'm grateful for
We
you and your
did.
family. I do a ton of work with your daughter at her school there, and the
I
kids, and
know. If I was living up there, you'd be DJing all my
ah,
parties too.
you
It's
know,
so far away now.
yeah.
Yes.
And I DJ a lot of special needs events throughout the year for different schools and homes and
Wow.
organizations. And that's another reason why I want to
That's
do the show, because
wonderful.
I work with these our brothers and sisters are these communities, and it's just it's a beautiful thing, and again I see them as again they're my friends, they're my colleagues, they're my customers. So
Absolutely. Yes.
anyways, but yes, I want to thank
And
you.
they're our future. They're our future because more and
Oh yeah.
more of our society is finding them. And like you said, we have to make room to put them in because they
And yes,
belong.
and they're going to do things that we can't do. We need them actually. We're not
We
doing them a
need
favor.
them.
They're if anything, they in many ways they're doing us a favor. They're contributing in a real way. So, but yeah, so thank you, Dionia, for coming on to Wellness Week, and don't forget,
Thank
folks,
you,
like and subscribe.
Tony. And
Thank you,
stay in
everybody.
touch too.
Yes, I'm going to sign us off in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.